Hello, welcome back to Just for Today. I'm Jamal Normie.
Hey, I'm Miranda, the recovering addict.
And today we're going to talk about a meeting a day. First thing, we got a scripture. It goes.
Today's scripture comes from Colossians 4, verse 5. Make the most out of every opportunity.
Most out of opportunity. Meeting's perfect opportunity to make the most out of all of them. Every moment is an opportunity. It's right though, because you have to make every meeting, no matter how many, no matter how little, you got to make the most of it. You know, it's so important to you. So, like, as an outsider, well, no, we'll start with you. How do you feel? Why is it so important to you?
It's like my lifeline. It's my lifeline. What's it called? When you're drowning and then they throw what is it called? They throw a life support. Yeah.
Lifesaver? Is that what it's called? Life?
No.
I feel like that's not right.
Life something, yeah.
It's a circle with a circle in the middle. It's a lifesaver.
Yeah. That's my meetings. Because when you're going through it, like, I just remember in the beginning of times, like when I'm having my breakdowns or whatever, it's like, instead of going to the drug, right, because that's what you're so used to doing, you just like run to a meeting. And even if you don't talk during that meeting or whatever, like you just, you'll hear something, it's for your support system. It just gets you clean for that hour. Because again, like in the beginning of recovery, you're taking it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. So they say to take it one day at a time, and it's like you're struggling just to get that one day, to stay that day clean. So meetings are important because it's, where you learn how to live in this world. You learn how to cope with your emotions and your anger and your frustrations, and that's where you go to not feel so alone. So it's my life support.
Yeah. And, thinking about it, it's just like church, just like the reason why we have to continue to go to church. Like, there's a different feeling going to church and watching it online, right? Like, there's energy, there's
feel it.
Yeah,
you feel the Holy Spirit.
You're feeding your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You feel a certain way when you do certain things. You go to a concert, you feel excited, you feel that energy. You go to church and you feel the Holy Spirit, and you go to meetings and you're feeling that energy that they're putting out. The further you get out, also, the more that things can seem like you can seem like you're doing okay out in the world, not in the meeting or whatever. Then that's when you relapse, or not necessarily that's when you relapse, but there's an opportunity for that to happen, because you feel like everything's fine, and then right when things feel like it's fine, it's likely not fine, and that's when you really need to get to a meeting or get to church or.
And that's the saying. That's the saying in the rooms. Like the moment you feel that you no longer need a meeting, it's like you run to a meeting. And I remember just recently, like a couple weeks ago, I think it was because during COVID, the shutdown, our meetings turned on to Zoom. And again, it's not the same. Just like church, you're getting what you need, right? It's like that support system, but it's like the live meetings are just different. You need that. And it was like about a month ago, and I was like, oh, I don't know, like I'm fine, like I don't, I kind of like, overpassed this hurdle, like I don't crave drugs anymore. I don't, I kind of know how to handle my emotions, and my meetings were just getting, I don't know if I want to say boring, but it was just like, it's difficult to like participate when it's like on Zoom. You'll have a meeting and you have like 60 people on the meeting, and they're from like different, all over the world, versus like when you go to your own personal meeting, it's like, a little bit more intimate and more personal. So I was seriously feeling that way. I was like, I don't need to go to a meeting anymore. And then that's when things started opening up in our town, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to a live meeting. And I'm glad I did, because I know, like, if I'm not in touch with my meetings, like, easily I can fall overboard. You think you no longer need it, but I don't know, you do. And it's not only about you. it's about helping the other person, you know, like even if you don't speak during a meeting, just by like a new person who's new in recovery, who's struggling, who's in that first 90 days of their recovery, like just by you showing up, it means so much to them, because they see you that is capable, that you're able to do it. Like there is hope, there is a way.
But not only that, like you're sharing, when you share your stories, you're sharing an experience that they might relate to.
Yeah.
That will help them be like, that light to go off in their head to realize, hey, there are other people that are feeling this way about this, or I'm not weird because I've gone through this. I'm not as bad a person.
And people share so intimately, because you know, like we're all going through the same thing. You just hear things that, you know, like a person they won't tell anybody else, you know, because that's what our issues are. We keep things inside. We have so many secrets, and those secrets kill you. So we encourage you to get those secrets out. And sometimes, you know, like me, it doesn't do the trick just by writing it down in my journal. You know, you have to like speak it. And so those rooms are very, very intimate, and you share things that you normally wouldn't share otherwise. And that's the, you know, it's so raw, and like knowing that other people can open up so intimately, you're more capable of opening up so intimately, and you get a bond, even though you may not even see these people outside of the rooms, you know. And that's where they say it's principles over personalities. You may not get along with these people outside of these rooms, right? You might have beef going on, or just like, you know, just different personalities that normally you just won't be around that person. You come into those rooms though, and when during that hour that you're in that room, all that's gone. Like you guys are there for each other no matter what.
It's like, I don't want to go to 90 meetings. I don't want to go to a meeting every day. I don't want to waste my time and go over here. I could just go however many days, you know. And I keep believing this church, and I know everybody doesn't want to hear about church, but
no,
like,
it's true.
It's no different than eating a meal. You're gonna eat, multiple meals a day. You're gonna eat, you're literally feeding your soul and your body, your mind, or whatever. Like it's a different type of nutrient for your body, and you also got to think, how many times do you do whatever it is that you're doing that you're trying to recover from? If you're doing that drug, you're probably doing that multiple times a day, at least once a day, or whatever the case is. So to get that, when you start to get that thought in your head, you go to a meeting when that happens, or whatever the case is.
And that's the whole point. That's why they have meetings like
all the time.
Well, I don't know. It's like, because we're in Las Vegas, so
we're 24 hours.
We're 24 hours, so like, I know there's meetings from like 7 in the morning to as late as like 11 o'clock at night. But I've heard like, other states to where they're like, depending on, the area, it's like, they don't have them all day, so that's why the Zoom thing is definitely, it's changing the program.
For a better, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's why like the rooms have saved me to where, in the beginning of time, like I said, that time that you want to use, it's like you just run to a meeting, and that saves you for that hour.
Yeah, and that's the same concept we're taught, with church. When you're needing, when you're feeling whatever sort of way, you pray about, and you get it out of your system. And there's also, that's why we have psychiatrists and things like this that you pay for. Like there's power and healing in getting things off your chest and conversating with somebody else about things. You're not holding it in, and building up.
And comparing it to the church, like you say, it's where once you go to your meetings, and they say 90 meetings in 90 days, because that's going to save you from going back, because it's feeding you. You're picking up things that you're not used to hearing. The same thing with church, to where you go to church every Sunday, but you also need to fellowship, get involved in your church, take a position where you can help out the church, go get into a ministry that's good for you. Same thing with, the program, the 12-step program. I'm not allowed to call it, and I had to call it a 12-step program. I had to call it a 12-step program.
Versus what?
Versus NA.
Oh.
So cut that out.
Okay.
with the 12-step program, that's you do 90 meetings, 90 days, find a sponsor, and then you have to fellowship, like get involved, find a position, whether that's being the greeter. When you go into a meeting, you're always greeted by somebody. They give you a hug, they welcome you and kind of show you the way. And then if not, you can like chair the meeting. There's always someone up front that's like, running the meeting. And by doing that, it gives you a responsibility. It gives you a purpose, like instead of, if you're home and you're just in your thoughts and your feelings or whatever, of course you want to go pick up, you want to use. But when you have a responsibility where your sponsor's depending on you, or even eventually when you become a sponsor to someone else, like, that person's depending on you, and it fills you up. You have a purpose, and it's a very important purpose. And so the same thing with church, just like I usher, I know how important that is for the church, and there's just different ministries that you're encouraged to get involved with, because again, keeping active, you won't be at home stirring in your crap all day.
Mm-hmm. And also there's a level of visibility, like you don't want to, when you go someplace, I don't know, some people could see it differently, but when you go someplace and it's one or two people in this meeting or church or whatever, you kind of feel like, this isn't going to do anything. There ain't nobody here, so the more bodies that are actually there, it kind of makes you feel like there's something good can come from it. Like you're gonna doubt yourself right away. You walk into a room,
right?
There's two people sitting there, and nobody's saying anything. Nothing's going on. You know what I mean? Like
I had a meeting like that before.
Have you?
Yeah, I remember it was
in the beginning or later.
Yeah, well, it was like when I was like within a year of being clean.
Yeah. How'd you feel? Like when you walked in?
I walked in and it was just me and like two other girls. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, and you can't turn around at that point. You're already there.
Yeah.
But it turned out it helped me because me, like I'm an introvert, I'm like shy, so it was more intimate. So I was able to speak more freely. It didn't end up being like a normal meeting. It just turned into like these addicts just hanging out and like talking, their problems. So either way, and that's the thing, to where no matter what, there's like a list of meetings, and it's like, it doesn't matter if only one person shows up. That's all. So it's like, even if your meeting just has one person coming, like it's always going to be there. Because even just helping that one person
is beneficial. But then thinking about also though, that could cause somebody to turn away because they're like, now I have to talk, or now I have to do X, Y, and Z, and I just kind of want to come and listen. And in the beginning, aren't you encouraged to not talk also?
If it's your first time, or if you actually use that day, because it's just better to listen. You need the old schoolers call it, you just need to sit down, shut up, and listen. It's kind of like like the generations have changed, but
that's still always true. So shut up and listen.
Shut up and listen.
That can a lot of people can learn from that. Can get something from that.
Yeah, so I go to my meetings because of Zoom. I'm able to go every day. I do a live one at least once a week, but things have been more settled down, and you get caught up in work and life, and as you progress in your recovery, you get your job, you get your family, you get activities and hobbies, and you're becoming a member of society, but you just never lose that connection with those meetings. So
but that's it right there. You kind of just said it. So all this stuff happens, life changes, and then you think that you don't need it anymore,
right?
But that's when you do. So then you have a breakup, someone gets hurt, or whatever, then that's when you fall into that trap, and then you've forgotten about these meetings, and then you end up using.
That's why you get a sponsor, though, so that when those situations happen, that you pick up the phone and you call that. You have a sponsor for life. It's not just you have a sponsor to get you through the steps and then you're done. It's like that person's going to be in your life, forever.
What happens though So what happens when a sponsor relapses?
That's happened. You have to find. Unfortunately, you have to find a new sponsor. Yeah, I mean, there's times where sponsors move away, or they pass away, or things like that. You have to find a new. Yeah, you have to find a new sponsor. But if you're actively in the program, you're familiar with people in the group.
Actively in the program.
Yeah. So a meeting a day keeps the drugs away. That's how I see it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what frustrates me about all this Fight Clubness of meetings. Like, if hopefully this gets across to somebody that doesn't know about it and finds out about it. Like, if we would have known about it in the beginning, if more people would know about it in the beginning and not later after those relapses or after having to go to get checked in someplace, like that was like the only option, is for you to get checked in to a mental hospital, because we didn't know about this, medications and getting checked in a place.
Yeah.
This is so much simpler, just to be able to go to a meeting and talk about this with somebody.
It makes sense. I mean, I learned about it, I read about it.
What?
I see both sides of it.
I see both sides to it to an extent. It's
to protect it, and it's to protect a lot of people won't go to the meetings because they're afraid that they'll get outed. Because there are people in high, positions, or they, or with work or family or whatever, like it cannot be known that they're addicts. But that's the thing, like, we're not going to go out and say, hey, did you see so-and-so?
That's what I'm talking about. That part should be the anonymity of it. You can't talk about somebody else's story or somebody specific. I get that 100. And you don't want your information, regardless, if you feel bad about I'm sure you've been using, of course you're going to feel bad about what you've been doing to somebody or to yourself. So I get that part, but the fact of not being able to talk about the fact that there is a meeting, this is the part that I'm talking about, that there's this tool for somebody to use to help them. That's what...
It's just because it can get out of hand. It can turn into what it's not, it's just, to me, the only way I can sum it up is to where it turns into politics,
As long as you're not talking about somebody, though, it should be pretty straightforward.
But if people will use the program, otherwise, like there was a story out there where, this person did, use the program before it was like well known, right? This person did use the program, and then this person was well known, and then it turned into like, oh well, let's like support this program with like money and outside stuff, and that's not what we're about. We're not about money. We're not about making it grow big and getting known. It's just about helping that addict, and it loses that no matter what. That part, it loses the core of itself. So
that could reduce the quality of it.
Right. Yeah.
But you do need money for a building. You do need money.
And that's where where us, the addict, like we contribute. It's all self-supported. You can even track down the money where it goes to. To support the building, the rent, the papers, the books,
I get that part. That makes sense.
And just finding people, resources. It's just,
Yeah, but also at the same time, if you're homeless because you got kicked out and you have no money to support, and you have a bunch of people that are like that in a smaller town, then you can't have NA because there's no money.
But there's always that one person, like if you are in a small town, or because you're the recovering addict, so you know what it's like. So if you know this town needs a meeting, and that's what happens, to where you'll do it. You'll do whatever you need to support this meeting, but it'll come out of, the NA group, or even people like donate and get other, meetings together, and they network with each other.
Yeah. There's a will is a way. I don't know. I see sides to it, but I think it's pretty simple to not have to talk about somebody's. That's the only thing. Like the name of the meeting, the fact that there is a meeting is the only thing that stuff can get complicated when you start talking about money and all that sort of stuff. And fame, and so I get that part. But just the fact that there is this thing called there is this thing called a meeting for whatever it is.
Right.
That's the that's all the time we have for just for today. Leave us a comment below. How do you feel about not knowing that there is a meeting? Is there an aspect to it that we're not aware of? Or also, I feel about there being, a meeting a day. Do you feel like that's helpful? Have you been in that sort of situation? What does it make you feel? Leave a comment below. This could be the start of a long conversation. But like, share, subscribe, do all the things. More importantly, remember to keep coming back.
Stay clean.
Bye.
5. Make the most of every opportunity.
You gonna be able to remember that?
I hope so.
Anyway, you ready?
No, you made me forget. Colossians 4
You're
verse
supposed to
5.
remember this.
Make the most.
Throat itching.
Huh?
My throat's itching. My tag sticking out? Yes.
Yeah, I told you that already.
All of them.
I had to make sure it was the right, right verse. 4 or 5.
You had literally like 3 words. It's refilling, and I just lost my train of thought.
Situations happen. See all these gnats in here?
No, I saw 1.
I saw 2.
Oh, girl, you saw the same gnat.
No, I saw 2.
Oh, you named them? Were they different colors? How you know there were 2?
I saw one right here and one right here.
Okay, Miranda. Randy.
Randy. Oh, that's so funny. I like that though.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna start calling you Randy then.
At least you can call me Randy.
You feel. We can have a detailed 3.
How do you not have it memorized, Brenda?